Today on The Business of Creators, I'm talking to Tom from Whatnot, a platform that's completely changing how we're buying and selling online.
Whatnot is a marketplace where buyers and sellers kind of get to engage really directly with each other around products that they love.
We get into why live shopping isn't just the future, it's already booming.
Last year, sellers on Whatnot sold more than $3 billion of goods while live on Whatnot. More than 500 folks made more than $1 million selling on Whatnot last year.
Tom shares the secret to selling products.
Knowledge, passion, and service would probably be the three things I would point you at. Live video is incredibly powerful for generating high trust. The majority of e-commerce is really just a scaled up Sears catalog. Not to age myself, but it is just like an endless list of things that exists on a site. And then I, scroll through that list and I do the equivalent of I tick the box in the back of the magazine, and instead of sending my old school check, I swipe my credit card and it kind of arrives. But I have no real understanding or feel for the product. There's no customer service in that. There's no personality of the seller. Whereas Whatnot is the internet version of going to the mall. You might go with something in mind. I came to buy a present from my mum, but I wander through the mall and I can see individual stores, and the branding of that store might convince me to come in. The personality of the seller might convince me to make a purchase. The shopkeeper can tell me that they sourced these earrings from Australia and that they fell in love with them when they went there on a holiday. Or somebody can, as a book merchant, be like, here's our staff picks shelf, and I can go and peruse those. And so you're basically combining the immediacy and the convenience of online shopping with the fact that you can actually wander around and you can see the store that has a line outside of it, and you can ask the seller whether or not this runs big or small, and you can look and talk to the person who's selling you a thing. Whereas for the majority of people selling and buying on the internet, who the merchant is completely abstracted. I have absolutely no idea who I'm buying from when I buy from an Amazon listing. I have no idea where these things come from. Whatnot is much more like kind of going back to the mall. And so I think to your original question of what do people overlook, it's a way to actually understand who a seller is and to get that kind of, much more traditional form of customer service. But because it is really interactive and it is kind of on the internet, you can also do, as much or even more volume than e-commerce enables you to do. Heck, they want to turn around and say, do you guys want shoes, or should I be running some hoodies right now? During the Masters, we saw a whole bunch of our golf sellers talking about the Masters while they were happening. And when Rory's on screen, they're running Nike products. And then when Bryson's on screen, they're running Reebok products, and really making it kind of interactive and fun for the sellers. You can actually bring some of that kind of the joy back to shopping. And video is such a natural format for doing those things that you don't actually have to overbuild the experience. As I said, we can get the basics right for you, logistics, payments, all of that good gear. But the rest of it is kind of like old-fashioned customer service done through interactivity. Buyers on Whatnot spend about 90 minutes a day on Whatnot, because it is I used to go and wander the mall. This is a fun place to be. We are not optimizing for people to come in and make a basket and leave. And part of the outcome of that is that buyers on Whatnot spend 10 times more than they spend on any other marketplace in the US, because it is that kind of environment where you wander the mall and you end up buying those earrings because they were wonderful and they were charming and the seller was great. And so you bring your goods to Whatnot, you can sell them here. We've got a couple different formats that you can choose to sell with. There's the majority of the platform right now is live auctions. So, it's a very fun way to buy, which is 20 of us will be sitting here and you'll start an auction for this kind of fantastic hat, and we can all bid on it. As a seller, I can choose to start that at $1. I can choose to start that closer to what I think its price is worth at, say, 50. And then it's just, you can run those in 10-second auctions, 3-second auctions, 10-minute auctions. It's really up to you as the seller to decide how you want to balance those. We have fixed price purchasing. McKinsey were already forecasting 10 to 20% of all e-commerce will be live in the next couple of years. I think what's equally interesting for me is there is a very, very meaningful percentage of Whatnot sellers who make more than 10 grand a month already. And we've had, last year, I'm confident the number was more than 500 folks made more than $1 million selling on Whatnot last year. And 1 in 10 folks are selling full time. And the way we kind of tend to judge full time is, are you doing more than 10 grand a month on the platform? And so, I don't think you could say the same even of tens of millions of people making YouTube videos or streaming live on Twitch, because renting attention and being able to monetize your taste and your audience are just really different economic prospects. So that you can kind of sell not just a dozen things an hour, but our big sellers are selling hundreds of items an hour. 500, 600 items an hour is like not particularly difficult on Whatnot, even before you get to things like flash sales. And then as a seller at the end of that show, waiting for me is shipping labels that the buyer has paid for, that are all ready to go, and all I have to do is go through and print those, stick them on the box with the package, and kind of drop them off at the post office, and it's all vertically integrated from there. So the premise is basically that you can go through, if you have inventory and you're ready to go, start selling. One of my favorite facts is that one of the biggest categories for live shopping in China through its whole history has been fruit and vegetable.
Okay.
Because you can literally go and see the farm on which your watermelon is being sold, and you can judge for yourself. Like, if I have low trust in supply chains, watching the farmer go into the field, write my name on the watermelon, cut it from the vine, and then have that show up on my door with my name written on it, I now know exactly the farm that came from.
And I'm excited about that day where I can buy that wine from the French vineyard.
Oh, mate, I will be right there in the stream with you, because I truly, as a person who loves kind of, going from cellar door,
Yeah.
I think the story of the things we buy is often an underrated aspect in the things that we buy, and it'll be super fun.